Day, May 7th. For our reading today, we are going to be returning to our Mentor Read Aloud, our Mentor Big Book on forces. But first, we're going to go back to the introduction page that we did on Monday so that you can be reminded again of what this unit is about. So it's on forces and motion.
Topic 10. Forces and motion. Essential question. What makes things move?
So these are just some different pictures of things that move. So again, the roller coaster, the person on the bicycle going up the hill, the boy swinging, and then of course the rockets. Okay? So now we're going to move on to forces in our big book. And we're not going to go through and read the whole story again. We're going to be focusing on specific skills. So the first skill is using the text evidence and looking at text evidence questions. So how do the images on pages 6 and 7 help you to understand the question on page 7? So we're going to turn to page 7 in our book, 6 and 7. So the question says, what is a force? And what forces can you see on these pages? So the question on page 7 asks me to find and name the forces that I see in the images on pages 6 and 7. I have to look at the images on the page and think about the forces they show. First, I look at the photo on page 6. The family is pushing the snowball. A push is one force that I see. It is my first answer to the text question. Next, I look at the photo over here on page 7. We see that the people are pulling on the rope. The pull is the second force I see. So we have a push motion and a pull motion. So what forces can you see on these pages is a push and a pull. Now we're going to move on to the next question, which is how does the image on page 8 help you to understand how objects move? So we're going to look over here on page 8. How do we use forces? Again, how does the image on page 8, that's this picture right here, and even these, help you to understand how objects move? So what word in the text does the picture show? It says, forces allow us to move objects. Machines help us use less force to do a job. Machines can push and pull. So we can see that this big truck is using this object in front, it's a plow, to push. A snowplow pushes snow away. So using this machine allows us to be able to use a stronger force, in this case, to push the snow off of the road. People use windmills to make electricity. So here we have windmills and we have these machines that are being used in order to help other things that are heavier to move. So that is our short lesson on the text evidence questions. Now we're going to be looking at text features. Okay, so for instance, what is one text feature that can help you find information about forces? So we're going to turn back to the very beginning of our book to this page, and we see right here the table of contents. We also see the title. What is one text feature that can help you find information about forces? This right here is the title page. It tells the name of the book, Forces, and it also has the author, Joy Brewster. It also has the table of contents. The table of contents shows the main parts, including the chapters right here, and of course the page numbers that the chapters begin on. So the first section in the table of contents says words to think about. We can follow it to the end of the line, words to think about, and it shows page 2. If I want to learn about the words that are important in this story, I am going to turn to page 2, which is right here, and I see all of the words at the beginning of the book. It says forces, gravity, machine, motion, pull, and push. If I look back at the table of contents on the next part, it says introduction. So the introduction is going to be on page 4. And I can see here that chapter 1, what is a force, is on page 6. So if I turn to those pages, I should see that. And here we have on page 4, the introduction page. This gives a brief introduction as to what you're going to be learning about. And then as we go on to the next page, we see that our story, our information is broken down into chapters. Chapter 1, what is a force? And then it goes on to chapter 2 and chapter 3. So the table of contents helps us to find something that we're interested in quickly. We can just look at the table of contents at the beginning, find the chapter we're interested in. For instance, how do forces change motion is on page 10. So I can just quickly turn to page 10 and I will be on that chapter. So the text features this information is helpful in helping us to get to the areas that we want to learn about. Another feature, another lesson that we're going to be doing is today is on opposites. If we look on page 4 and 5, we see the words push and pull. How can we understand the meaning of those words? Well, think about opposites or antonyms. Opposites, for instance, up, down, are opposites. In, out, are opposites. So on this page, we have push and we have pull. These words are opposites. I'm going to go ahead and underline them now. Push and pull. You can see here in the picture on page 4, the family is pushing the sled. When we push something, we are moving it away from us. It is being pushed away from us. When we pull something, we're pulling it towards us. So again, it's the opposite. We see the same thing here, on page 6. We see the family is pushing the snow away from them, pushing it away. And here the people are using the cord or the pole or rope to pull an object towards them. If we turn over to page 10, we see on page 10, think of the words up and down. That was an example I did at the beginning of this lesson. What does the word up mean? What is the opposite of up? Is down. It says jump in the air. Gravity pulls you down to the ground. Gravity is a force in Earth. If Earth did not have gravity, then you would keep moving up. So we see the words down and up. I'm going to underline those now. Down and up are opposites. And last, page 12. Whoops. Over here, we have two more opposites. I'm going to go ahead and read this and see if you can find what they are. Some forces are big. Some forces are small. If you use a big force, then an object goes faster and farther. A small force can only move the objects a little bit. Did you find the two words that are opposite? Think of our math lesson on Wednesday when we talked about size. If you guessed big and small, that is correct. We sorted by big and small our objects and shapes in math. So we're seeing that now in our reading. Big and small. They are opposites. So I know we did a few different skills today. We looked at some text evidence questions. We looked at opposites, text features, and looking at the table of contents helps us to understand how we can use text features to help us locate things more quickly in our story. So I hope you enjoyed forces today, and we will be doing a compare and contrast tomorrow with, yes, you guessed it, our friend Larry. So have a great Thursday, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, boys and girls.